Good morning guys! So it's Thursday today, which means it's the fourth day of the BOOkTUBEATHON, and the book that I'm picking up today is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, which I'm reading for the Book with a Beautiful Spine challenge because this book definitely has a beautiful spine and cover in general. And I'm super glad that it fit into that challenge because I've been meaning to read this book for ages now. I've read a few of Oscar Wilde's plays and really enjoyed them, and I've had Dorian Gray sitting on my shelf for the longest time but just haven't picked it up, so this has been the perfect excuse to finally get around to reading it. So far this morning I've managed to read about 50 pages of the book, and it's definitely looking like it's going to be the kind of gothic classic that I really enjoy reading. It's also not too long, so I'm hoping I'll be able to fly through it quite quickly. So far it's kind of looking at the concept of art and how that sort of links into the superficiality of human nature and how humans are quite superficial and sort of want to stay young and beautiful forever, which is looking like it could be a really interesting topic to explore. So I'm looking forward to reading a little bit more of that later on, but for now it's about mid-morning, so we're going to head out and take Ruby for her walk. So we got back from our walk a little while ago and just decided to make a quick bit of lunch, and I did a little bit more reading. I managed another 10 or so pages of Dorian Gray, but whilst I was eating I decided to watch one of the BOOkTUBEATHON vlogs from Books and Lala, and she was talking about how in BOOkTUBEATHON you have to pick two from vlogging, sleeping and reading, and I'm definitely feeling that at the moment because with keeping up with all of the reading, and I have been doing plenty which I'm super happy about, and also editing, I've not been getting as much sleep as I normally would. I'm definitely quite a morning person and I don't mind getting up super early, but with editing I've been staying up way later than normal and I'm feeling a little bit tired now. I could probably do with an afternoon nap, but actually I'm going to try and stay awake, and I need to do a little bit of filming. I'm going to film my July reading wrap up because I'm going on holiday at the end of the week, so I need to make sure I've got some stuff pre-filmed, and then I'm going to go to the gym and then get on with some more reading when I get back. So I've just finished filming my July reading wrap up, and I'm now going to try and do the video challenge for the day, which is to make a bookshelf out of books. Although as we saw from the House of Books challenge, I'm not very good at making things balance very well, but the good thing is I don't have a time limit for this one, so hopefully I can make it work. Okay, so that is the shelf now. I've just got to put some books on it. So it actually worked, although I've not made a very big bookshelf. It is functional. I've got 3 books on there and it's worked. So that's my attempt at the bookshelf out of books challenge. So I finished up with the Instagram and video challenges for the day and then just jumped in the shower, and although it was quite grey and gloomy this morning, we seem to have gotten a bit of afternoon sun, so I've just come outside and I'm planning to do quite a bit of reading of Dorian Gray outside and enjoy some sun. I've now made it to 180 pages through The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I've got about 50 left to the end. And so far the best way I can think to describe this book is bizarre but really intriguing. So the book obviously follows the main protagonist Dorian Gray as well as 2 of his friends, Basil and Henry. And Basil is a painter who paints a sort of really beautiful picture of Dorian and always tells Dorian about how beautiful he is, and then Henry sort of makes Dorian think that he should try and preserve his youth, because once you start getting old, apparently life isn't as interesting. And so after that, Dorian makes a wish that the painter could get old and he could stay young and beautiful, and that actually starts to happen. So it's a really, really interesting look at how people react to vanity and also not really taking responsibility for their actions, because in Dorian's case the painting takes the brunt of every decision that he makes, and he doesn't really have to face any consequences because no matter what he does he stays young and beautiful. So it's a really, really interesting sort of critique of vanity, and I'm finding it super intriguing and I really don't want to put it down. But for now it's about 6:30, so it's time to make some dinner, and then we're going to continue on with our Harry Potter movie marathon by watching The Goblet of Fire, and then I'll pick up and finish Dorian Gray after we've watched the film. So it's about 10:30 and I finished up watching Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire a while ago, and then just managed to finish my current read, which was The Picture of Dorian Gray. And as I mentioned earlier, it was a really bizarre but very interesting and enjoyable read. I did have a feeling going into this book that I was going to really enjoy it, because I've read some of Oscar Wilde's plays before and found them to be really interesting, and although the plays that I'd read were comedies and this novel definitely isn't a comedy, and they both have the same kind of like witty social commentary and critique that I find to be super interesting. And another thing that I found so great about this book was the fact that although it's really short, it's one of them amazing books that manages to make such an impact within such a short amount of pages. So there's like less than 250 pages in my copy, and yet it just was such an interesting read right from the beginning and just has such an impact and deals with so many different themes, which I find to be just amazing when an author can fit so much into such a short amount of pages. And so although, like I said, there are a lot of themes and different ideas going on in this book, the sort of predominant idea is the fact that humans are very vain, and Oscar Wilde sort of explores the fact that when humans are vain and become obsessed with a shallow idea like the concept of staying young and being beautiful, you sort of never be happy and will never be satisfied, which was a really, really interesting concept, and I thought the book was just so well written and just really interesting to read and very thought-provoking. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I'm glad I finally got to that one because it's been on my shelf for the longest time. So the next book that I'm planning to read for the BOOkTUBEAthon is the book where I'm going to have to wear a hat the whole time. So I've got my hat here, which looks ridiculous, particularly because it's definitely too big for me, but anyway, there's my hat, and the book I'm reading is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So it's about 10 o'clock in the evening, so it's not too late, and I'm not feeling too tired just yet, so I'm going to head downstairs with my hat on and do a little bit more reading before bed. So it's about 11:30 in the evening, and me and my ridiculous hat have just read the first 50 pages of They Both Die at the End. And I guess now that I've finished reading for the evening, I can take off the hat until I pick up the book again in the morning. So obviously I'm only 50 or so pages into the book right now, which means that not too much has happened just yet, but we have met both of our main protagonists, Matteo and Rufus, who have both received a death cast, which means that they're going to die within the next 24 hours. So the characters haven't met just yet, but while they do seem quite different to me at the moment, the one sort of similarity between them is that they're both quite lonely. They haven't really got much family around, and I presume that's going to be how they end up meeting. But I guess I'll have to keep reading to find out exactly how they sort of come to meet each other. But the book is interesting. Not too much has happened just yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how it pans out tomorrow. And one fun little coincidence I did notice was that this book is split into several parts, and each part has a little quote at the beginning of it. So the quote at the beginning of the part 1 is, "To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist. That's all," by Oscar Wilde. And I just thought that was a fun little coincidence, seeing as I just read Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. So that was a fun little thing to notice at the beginning of my next read. So anyway, that is all of the reading that I'm going to do for BOOkTUBEathon Day 4. So all in all today I managed to read a total of 281 pages and finished a whole other book. So that means that my total for the BOOkTUBEathon is 4 books completed and 1,290 pages read in total. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm also really looking forward to reading some more of They Both Die at the End tomorrow, because I'm really interested to see how that's all going to pan out. So let me know in the comments how your BOOkTubeathon is going. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.